37 years that I've been taking care of baseball players. This is one thing that I'm pretty sure of.
Burnett's going back. It is gone!
And that is that you need a maintenance program for pitchers.
The SPRTRAC is definitely not only an integral part of rehabilitation, but it's a piece of equipment that's used on a daily basis.
It allows you to start people doing active movement immediately post-operative.
My elbow and my shoulder will come back stronger and better than they were before.
It's difficult at times to bridge that gap between the rehab setting and the on-field activity, and I think this does that tremendously.
I think this is a device that can be used not only with the high-level professional athletes, but it can be used with the day-to-day patient.
The SPRTRAC is a unit that allows you to provide the highest quality care available and at the same time receive reimbursement for the care that you're providing.
I love it. I think it's I bought one myself, actually.
We are now increasing our billing in this particular area 400%.
The RAC stands for Sports Rehabilitation Athletic Coordination.
The SPRTRAC is a device which allows you to train the fine muscles around the shoulder. And by that I mean the small muscles which maintain position of the head in the socket. The problem that we have had in the past is that we tried to do specific exercises for each muscle. Sometimes that would amount to 20 or more exercises. We finally got them down to about 7 core exercises. But with the SPRTRAC, we're able to do them all pretty much in the same maneuver.
The SPRTRAC is new exercise technology that's available to the rehab market right now that allows an athlete or a patient to interact with state-of-the-art computer technology.
The SPRTRAC system allows us to take their extremity and put it into a position that they're comfortable in, and using micro movement allows them to start to exercise the muscles about the shoulder from day one after surgery.
First of all, you're firing the rotator cuff in a very controlled, safe manner. The rotator cuff is firing actively to participate in the task on the computer. The higher you go into elevation, the more activity the cuff has to do.
So this device gives you ability to measure the progress of the player.
This unit allows us for the first time to actually measure somebody's performance, that individual's performance the first time, and then how they can improve with training of all sorts.
I do think that allows probably for an accelerated rate of recovery, simply because you don't have to back off once the throwing programs start. It's a general gradual progression.
He sees whether or not he's getting ready, and then about the time he's ready, he can tell it as well as you can, and then you can start the pitching and not worry about re-injury right away.
The unit allows the patient, athlete or not, to get immediate time feedback in how they're doing, so they can visually and cognitively see how they're performing.
The patient gets feedback immediately because he's looking at a monitor trying to really almost play a game. So it becomes a challenge for the person, and he's much more interactive in his own rehabilitation.
It has to have a little bit of proprioceptive component as well, because proprioception is a position sense, and if you don't have a good position sense, then you're not going to throw well.
So the ability of the brain to work with these small muscles in producing fine motor coordination to do the little things is something that this particular piece of equipment seems to do very well.
And I think that's what the SPRTRAC attempts to do, is stimulate that pathway, keep those receptor sites and the messages to the brain open during the phase where they're not throwing and they're not stimulating that particular that joint.
The first time I went out to throw, it felt like my arm angle was in the position I needed it to be.
Andy was absolutely looked like he had not missed a beat. He looked like he was throwing the ball all along.
Doing the SPRTRAC, it helps, you know, muscle memory in your shoulder, working the little muscles of the rotator cuff. And when I went out to throw, it was like, you know, I really hadn't taken that long of a time off, you know, just the way I felt arm angle-wise.
And that's when I told him, I said, I really am amazed. That's probably the best initial effort I've ever seen when beginning a throwing program. And we both kind of thought that perhaps the SPRTRAC had contributed to that.
In the 37 years that I've been taking care of baseball players, there's one thing that I'm pretty sure of, and that is that you need a maintenance program for pitchers to maintain the strength of the rotator cuff and the other small muscles of the shoulder.
It's not just for someone who's had an injury. We have our throwers use this equipment every day as part of their exercise.
Guys that don't even have a shoulder injury, I think it's good for, just for the concentration factor and for staying on top of those finer muscles and keeping those in tune. When you go out and pitch, it may, some guys may find that it helps with their command. Somebody that's not a pitcher, you know, some of our regular fielders use it, and they find that it helps.
Definitely the SPRTRAC has helped not only my concentration level, but I think the muscle memory of my shoulder, knowing when I went out to throw that it was there.
It's great for just for concentration, for staying focused, because when you do get back out into a game, you want to, you know, maintain concentration and focus throughout, you know, hopefully a 9-inning game.
Once I get back to pitching, it's not something that I'm not going to do. It's something that I want to continue to do throughout the rest of my career.
If you have a nice, interesting program, such as the SPRTRAC, so that they can compete against their previous performance, then it becomes a game for them, and they're keeping their shoulders strong and don't even know it.
The healthcare system is challenging everybody to get their patients better as quickly as possible. So any opportunity that's out there that allows you to achieve higher success at less cost to the patient in the healthcare system and get that person better quicker is going to enhance that clinic's ability to stay viable, compete for contracts, and really be a leader in rehab in their community. The reason we decided that this unit was good for us is because it can apply to all of our upper extremity patients and not just that select athletic group.
The SPRTRAC system does have a role for any therapist's office, any therapist that is involved with shoulder rehabilitation. I think that this is, again, an important tool that may help to enhance the fine motor performance of that individual.
Patients of all ages, operative, non-operative, workers' comp, the geriatric patient, and not only orthopedic cases. We're using this device with neurologic cases as well. So our application is a lot more, has a much wider scope.
I think this is a device that can be used not only with the high-level professional athletes, but it can be used with the day-to-day patient that you're seeing in your clinic.
The SPRTRAC is a unit that allows you to provide the highest quality care available and at the same time receive reimbursement for the care that you're providing. It's interactive, it's everything that the 21st century is all about.